So the show's about imaginary friends, and really it came out as part of a photography class that I was teaching. And I wanted students to think about photography in a less literal, more metaphoric, more creative way. But photography is not really set up for that. Photography is set up to take pictures of things that are there. So to try and get them thinking about the things that weren't there, I asked them to take a picture of their imaginary friends. They didn't know how to do it at first, so they got the chance to make it up. And I really liked the way that challenge set a conversation. And I wanted to make it bigger and to bring it to different people. And so that's how this project came about. Trying to find ways to engage with the imagination, trying to think through the things that aren't there, but that are still important. And to try and, I guess, build a relationship with them, which is why I really like, the two parts, the imagination and the friends. Right? So how would we find the imagination and what would we do once we found it? The idea of making friends with it seems like a pretty good way to develop that relationship. So I talked to Open Space about the project. They also put me in touch with the Art Gallery of Greater Victoria and the Open Door Access to Art After School program. And so there are a bunch of high school art students who are also part of the project, representing their own imaginary friends, but also going out and talking to their friends and trying to bring other people into the project. So it's one of the things that I really like is not just, that somebody takes a picture or expresses themselves, but gesturing outwards to try and turn every act of creation into a conversation too. So I was really, really impressed that quite a few of them actually did that extra step, not just making their own work, but bringing other people into the conversation. It was very cool.
So the call out that you did for people to participate, what did you say? What was the thing that they had to do, to say?
It was very open-ended. I think one of the things that's beautiful about the idea of imaginary friends is that everybody's going to approach it differently. Some people had imaginary friends, and so they had a story already waiting to be told. Other people didn't, and so they could either talk about how they wished they had one, or they could make something up, or they could, form a connection of their own. And so I didn't and I don't want to overly prescribe the project. I know what imagination and friendship mean to me, but I'm only one part of a conversation. And I'm more interested in representing the different voices than I am in trying to, sort of gatekeep what the concept can be. So to participate, people are really just asked to take a picture or make an artwork, write a story, send a description of their imaginary friend or of what the imagination or friendship mean to them. And all of the contributions that I receive are included on the slideshow screens that are over to the side here, but they're also planted in an augmented reality exhibition that's happening around Victoria as we speak. So the augmented reality lets me fix an image in a GPS coordinate. If you're just walking past it, you would never know. But if you have the app that lets you see the imaginary friends, you can walk around Victoria looking through your phone and see the different pictures that people have made in the different locations that I've planted them. Right? So it brings the idea of imagination together with the idea of technology in some ways, giving us access to a certain version of reality that we don't always see.
How many people did you get?
So far there are about 85 or 90 people who have contributed images and descriptions. So, hopefully that'll grow a little bit as the show keeps going and people, hopefully their imaginations get sparked and decide that they're going to contribute too.
And with the app, this app is going to be okay. Can we download it? Where?
So everything, the links to the app and to the virtual reality exhibition are all on the website for the project. So that's tedhiebert.net/friends. I didn't create the app. So the app is called Layer, is the one that I use. And what it is the equivalent of a web browser, but for augmented reality. So it's simply an app that lets somebody create an interface like the one that I've created for the imaginary friends.
And for how long you can use it?
I'm talking to Doug Jarvis right now about the possibility of turning the augmented reality exhibition into a permanent piece of public art, which I think would be fantastic. For sure, it will be here for a month. This exhibition runs until April 9th, but I'm hoping that it will live after that as well.
So people can still submit in till the end of the show?
For sure until the end of the show, and if I'm able to turn it into a piece of public art, then I think people can continue to submit whenever they would like to. And I make the commitment that everything that gets submitted will be represented in the project.
Thank you. Oh, one more thing. Those hats are, what's the idea with the hats?
Tinfoil hats. So the tinfoil hats, I think of them as, I call them apparatuses for communicating with imaginary friends. And the idea is, I guess, has a couple of sides to it. One is that tinfoil hats have this history of being kind of conspiracy theory objects, right? The idea that the tinfoil will somehow protect you from the government spying on you. Well, it's a sort of strange story, but it's also sort of interesting, as though we think that somebody might be listening to what we're thinking, or that somebody else might be listening to our imaginations. So to put on a hat to protect that is also in some way to own our own imaginary space. So I really like the idea of kind of trying to access our own imaginations in that way. But I think, in a sort of simpler, maybe funnier way, the idea of putting on a tinfoil hat just makes us self-conscious, right? We see ourselves a little bit differently. For sure, the people looking at us see us differently. And all of a sudden, something different happens in the world. So we break with our patterns and habits of interaction, and we start to see that there are other ways to engage as well. So I see that as a creative moment. I see it as something that can help to build the imagination. Girlfriend of mine.